Have you ever wondered where glass containers come from? What they're made of and what happens to them when you finish with them? Well, let me and British Glass show you. Glass has been around for thousands of years, dating back to the Stone Ages, and the recipe hasn't changed that much in that amount of time, although the production has. Today, the UK produces over 8 billion glass containers. That's the equivalent of 119 bottles or jars for each person, and we're going to find out how it's made and how important it is to recycle it. I'm here today at Encirc, home of the largest container glass furnace in the world, to see what goes into making one of these. This factory makes more than 2 billion glass containers a year and is the only glass plant in the world with its own filling station. We're going to find out the benefits of glass, why recycling is so important, and how they're reducing their carbon footprint. Hi John, so can you tell us a little bit about what you do here at Encirc?
Yeah, sure. I'm the plant director for Elton Glass. I've been here for 3.5 years and I look after the glass operations.
Amazing. So it's a fabulous facility. Can you tell us a little bit about the process that you do in this section?
Yeah, sure. Well, this is the nerve centre of the glass plant, to be honest. This is the batch of furnace control room. So this is where we control the furnace technology and also the recipe that is incoming into the batch that feeds the furnaces that melts to make the glass. So a real critical part of the operation. You can see here we've got the bank of screens controlling all our condition monitoring of the glass temperature itself, also water temperatures around the site and water levels around the site. Everything that we need to make glass safely and effectively is controlled from in here. You can see the cameras on the screens there that are showing the actual inside of the furnace. We've got amazing cameras that can withstand the heat in there, and that shows the glass moving forward and the batch slowly melting as we go through.
In terms of recycling then, a facility like this, how much recycled material do you actually use?
It's a good question because it's really, really important for us. So on the one hand, from a sustainability and environmental point of view, it's critical for us to increase our recycled glass content, but actually it reduces the energy we require to melt the glass to reform it, so it's beneficial to us as well. However, we are restricted to the amount we can get from a supply point of view, sometimes from a quality point of view. So at the moment, for example, on our amber furnace, we're putting around 60% recycled glass into the recipe. And on our flint, our clear glass, we're injecting 37% recycled glass. So an average of probably around about 45% recycled glass as a whole.
Fantastic. To find out where Encirc gets some of its recycled glass from to use in their furnace, we're heading to Beatson Clark. Here at Beatson, they process 42,000 tonnes of glass each year that then gets recycled and made into new bottles and jars. And we're going to check out the process. So I've been hearing this word cullet a lot. Is that what we're looking at here?
So no, this is the waste glass that gets delivered to site. It's also got other household waste mixed in before it gets reprocessed in the site. It gets all the contaminants removed so we can have good quality cullet to use to be remelted for other packaging in the furnaces.
So can you tell us a little bit about the sorting process and how we get from this to the cullets?
Yeah, so waste glass gets delivered from various curbside bottle banks and hospitality trade on site. We check it then to make sure it's of suitable quality, and then it gets loaded into the main hopper via the JCB telehandler. It then gets run through the plant. It goes to a series of magnets which takes away all the metals. The plastic and paper gets taken from a picking belt and through an extraction system. It then runs through shaker beds, which sorts it by size, and then goes through our advanced optical sorters. They've got a light source, a mirror and a camera, and they go over in a waterfall effect over the light source, and the camera reads it. So the green and the amber go straight through. The flint is positively rejected, as is the waste product. The flint goes into one side, the green and amber into another, and the CSP waste product go into another chute. They all go down the final product into the stillages. They get quality checked every hour, and then when they're good quality, they get used back up in the furnaces.
So how long does this process take to get from this, what we see here, to the cullet?
So it takes approximately 8 to 10 minutes. So get loaded into the hopper to run around the plant, to then be in the final product stillages. Those stillages then get emptied into the skips, and once we've got a skip full, then it goes up to the furnaces to be used.
Wow, that's really fast. By using cullet produced from recycled glass, like the cullet made here at Beatson, It means less raw materials are used in the furnace to make new glass bottles and jars. To give you an idea of how much it helps, for every 10% of colour used in the furnace, we see a 5% reduction in CO2 and a 3% reduction in energy consumption. All the glass that comes into Beatson can be recycled over and over again, meaning it can come through the plant a limitless number of times. Here in the UK, it's actually possible to achieve a closed-loop economy of glass. But we all need to do our part and recycle our glass properly, so places like Beatson can create more colour to go around the recycling loop forever. So we don't have to rely on any virgin materials. The more we recycle, the more colour we can use in the process. Let's head back over to Encirc to show you how the new bottles and jars are made from the recycled glass. All the ingredients to produce glass, including the colour, are blended together and then fed into the furnaces. The glass mixers are then sent to a number of different lines, depending on their type and colour. This glass then forms what's called gobs and is cut to size, depending on the container. This then goes into the forming machines that forms the final shape of the bottle in a blow mould. They're then conditioned to get the final chemical characteristics of the glass correct. After which they're inspected to make sure there are no defects, before the freshly made bottles are sent to the filling hall, where some of them are filled with wine, beer or spirits that have been brought into the factory ready for distribution to be transported all over the UK.
So why might these brands choose glass over, say, plastic?
Glass still wins in many factors in terms of when it comes to choosing a bottle. So when consumers are asked, they always choose glass for quality. You'll often find premium products such as wine and spirits in particular in glass. The glass is a material, this is where it comes into its own. So glass is the only material that's inert, chemically inert, so it won't interact with the food or beverage inside. So if you get a soft drink, for example, and you drink it from a plastics bottle, you'll notice that the taste can be a little bit different, a little bit off. And that's because the material, the chemicals from the layer, from the plastic liner, is interacting with what's inside the material. So with glass, it never interacts. It's the only mainstream packaging that doesn't change the taste. So for that, it's the best for health as well. And I'd say it's best for recyclability and best for that being that infinite material that goes around the recycling material chain again and again and again. The issue with glass is our carbon intensity. So that's the only factor when compared against a tin can or a plastic bottle, where we do fall down a little bit. So what we need to do is decarbonise our furnaces, which there's lots of work happening in the UK right now. So in the future, we think we can create zero carbon glass bottles, which will remove that last factor that goes against glass in terms of sustainability.
Innovation is a continuous process to make glass as sustainable as possible, both in the production and the design. For example, glass is 40% lighter now than it was 20 years ago, meaning less weight in transit and therefore less strain on the environment. And factories like Encirc are constantly looking for new ways to reduce their carbon footprint to produce this amazing material. We all just need to make sure we do our part and recycle our glass containers correctly. Now you know how glass gets from your house to the shop floor in less than 30 days.